thank you, first and foremost, for taking the time to hang with me and to talk about your new album.
No problem at all.
I got it in my yeah, I got it in my inbox. I think like 2 weeks ago, and it was a shell shocker. It's so good, very
Thank you.
good. I'm gonna make kind of a noob of myself because this is my first like interview. This is my first video interview that I'm conducting on my own. But as someone who toured with Suffocate, I had no idea that you were in Oceano.
Yes.
So you went from Oceano to Coma Witch. Am I correct? Like you helped with Coma Witch initially?
We did the above below 7-inch.
Okay. Okay. So that's where you came in.
Yeah.
Okay. I have kind of a weird question about the release of this album. So it's in October. It's October 24th. There were two other albums in the Acacia Strain Index of like hard work ethic. You guys put out an album every 2 years. There were two other albums that were October babies, and that was Coma Witch and Death is the Only Mortal. And
Yes.
I just kind of wonder, is there a correlation? Is there a connection? Like, or is it just that's just the luck of the draw? You put them out in October.
It's kind of the luck of the draw. A lot of it, especially like since vinyl has taken off way more than any other physical media sales, a lot of it gets dictated to like when can vinyl be pressed. So if you record a record in March at this point in time, it's like you're not going to get the vinyl manufactured until October. So that has a lot to do with it, and it's more just like when we're able to get into the studio, like what do we have planned. For us, March was like, hey, we don't have anything going on, we can get in and record.
I wanted to talk about the Acacia Strain's work ethic. Basically, is like you guys put out albums every 2 years, and it's like clockwork, and it's such like despite the odds, because you went through label changes, you went through lineup changes, and the work just keeps getting better. How do you coordinate that? How do you make that work? And how easy was it to go from Oceano to the Acacia Strain with that style work ethic?
So with how the Acacia Strain operates, I think part of the reason we're able to put out records so regularly is we want to write. Everyone in this band has a different kind of style of creativity, and we always have, despite like member changes and everything. It's kind of I've always said like Vincent's a really good curator of musicians who are able to take his ideas and like turn them into songs. But we all enjoy writing. We all have to do it. Like, not like, oh, hey, it's time to put out a record. It's just like very quickly after we record a record, I start to get the itch of like, all right, I need to write more. And we write a ton before we get to the studio. Like our Dropbox, like demo Dropbox, before we started like actually getting together to write, there were like 40 demo songs, and we go through and it's just kind of like see what we all like, what we all don't like, and see kind of what out of the stuff we like, what fits like the thing we're going for on that particular record. And then from there we'll start to build songs, and a lot of it will be like, okay, well, this stuff is going to inspire new riffs and new songs. So out of like the 40 songs that show up, 5 or 10 of them might have parts taken from them to be used, and then we write the rest. And then like going from Oceano to that, I think was great, because when I was in Oceano, I joined like as they were writing Contagion, and I want to say Nick, Jason, Danny, Adam had maybe 3 or 4 songs written. So I came in and I think I wrote like on my own, I want to say guitar wise, I wrote 3, 4 songs, and then we all like collaborated on the rest. Like in a room, just kind of seeing what ideas work. And we went and recorded with Zeus, and it was a good experience. And then we toured off of that record for the entire time I was in the band. And near the end of my time, when I had the possibility of being able to work with Acacia Strain, we still hadn't written a record, like a new record. And it's, as a young band that had at that point 2 records out, like we have to do something. And it was really hard to kind of get that coordinated and worked out. And that's part of the reason that I left. Was I was like, it's been too long at this point, and I don't think that we kept people interested for as long as we should have, because we toured on Contagion for way too long. And Acacia Strain had been just, I've been in the band for half of its existence at this point, so there was still 12 years before I was in the band that they were putting out solid material regularly. So it seemed like a better fit for like how I wanted to work.
I think that's awesome. Especially because transitions like that aren't easy, and everything turned out flawless. On to the title of the album. And it's, I mean, for as long as I've been an Acacia Strain fan, they've always dropped an apocalyptic album during crazy apocalyptic circumstances, and it's almost like the most beautiful clockwork. But what's with the title? Like, what are the absolutes? And it's unapologetically Acacia Strain from what I've seen in other interviews. What does that mean? You know?
Yeah, I mean, to me, and I might have a different interpretation of it than Vincent does, because when he comes up with titles, or lyrics, especially like when there's like metaphorical stuff, very loose metaphorical stuff, he's not like, hey guys, this is about this. It's just like, here it is, and we go, that sounds cool. But to me, like, You Are Safe from God here is just kind of a thing where there are a lot of people out there who are surrounded by religion that not by their own choice, and for some people it's not a positive thing. For some people it is, and to each their own. But this is kind of like, for us, not, we're creating a place where we can be safe from the things that we don't like. I think we've matured quite a bit as a band as far as how we go about things. While many years ago we were the band that would, like, put inverted crosses on all our stuff.
The next question is just talk about your bandmates. We were just talking about Vincent and his concept for naming things. I do know him on a personal level, having lived in Albany and indulged in that scene, that he is a badass human being. He's the sort of guy who still shows up to local shows and, will mosh, like Born Low. He goes, like, I remember the last time I saw him was at a Born Low show, and he's a great human being, and he's very just, and he's just cool. He's way too cool, cooler than everybody else. But what would you say about each of your bandmates that has?
They're honestly my best friends. And I can say that about not just the guys in the band, but people that have been in the band before, like Tom and Kevin and Richie and Jack. Like I keep up with everybody, and it's kind of that thing when you bring somebody into the band, it's not necessarily about like who can play this the best, or who's the best guitar player we can get. It's who can play this stuff, but who is somebody that we want to hang out with. And like, that's how I came into the band, because like Oceano and Acacia Strain had toured, and we hung out every day. And the same goes, like, Griffin and Vincent had toured together, and Griffin was in Too Pure to Die many years ago. Mike was in A Mirror, and he is in Recon. We've known him forever. And then Matt filled in for Kevin when Kevin had to sit out for like a year. And we loved him. We kind of bullied him into being the person we wanted him to be. because he would do goofy stuff. Like we went to like a skate shop, and he bought like a Volcom hat and an Independent hoodie, and he's like, I had this outfit when I was in middle school, and I was like, yeah, man, you're an adult now. I mean, that's cool if that's what you want to wear, but like, grow up. Don't dress like you're in middle school still. Just that kind of bullying stuff. Friendly, not like mean. And it's we enjoy being around each other. We and that makes for like the writing process going a lot smoother. We understand each other, and so with that comes like an understanding of like our musical brains as well, where if I'm writing something, I might be able to think of like, oh, Mike would do something like this here, let me try that. Or this is the kind of like drum part Matt probably would play. Like if I'm just demoing stuff, I can kind of keep that in mind. And just Vincent, he's one of my best friends in the whole world. And it's one of those things where I think I would, even if we weren't in this band, these are still people I'd want to be friends with and hang out with. But we are in the band, and because we get along so well, there's no end in sight.
That's so awesome. I have always had such an incredible respect for them. What is your favorite track on the album?
It's hard to say. I really I like Swamp Mentality. I really like Sacred Relic. Um, Sacred Relic is one of those ones. Like I wrote that at home, and the main part that goes on and on, it was just like, how do I make a not necessarily like a breakdown, but just like a simple guitar part that sounds like the all of the like the future flashback scenes from Terminator, where like it's just the machine stomping skulls, and I'm like, so I hear that part in Sacred Relic, and I'm like, that's the Terminator part. But it's hard to say. I'm like really happy with how every song is and how they fit together. And when we write something, it's kind of like the main thing is we want to be happy with it. We want to write something we want to listen to. And whenever we make a record, like I listen to it all the time until I basically get tired of hearing it, and then I have to listen to it more to like relearn songs when it's time to play them live. But I haven't gotten tired to listen to it yet. I usually pop over to our record when I'm at the gym, and it works for that. I also like Holy Moonlight too.
Yeah, it does. That's one of the main bands.
No, I really like Holy Moonlight as well. There's a part in there we all kind of call the sonar part, and it's just like a guitar noise, but Matt came up with that. And whenever it comes up, everyone's like pushing a button, and I like that song too. I'm excited to be able to play that one live.
Yeah, they all are some of the most intimidating tracks that I've ever heard. And I just remember moving across the United States to Albany, New York from Reno, Nevada when Beast came out. That song dropped, and I was like, this is a band full of people who don't care about how something is perceived. And that's actually my next question is like, with the heightened sensitivities of religion and all the bullshit, I hate to say it like that, but with everything going on in the world right now, how do you think this will be perceived? Do you think the bands that love the Acacia Strain unconditionally are going to be like, hell yes, like this is a relief, this is the validation that I needed, or do you think it's going to get some backlash?
I have to be honest there and just say I really don't care. Like I obviously everybody wants a record to like do well because this is our livelihood and all that stuff, but I'm happy with it. The rest of the band is happy with it, and I don't like we've achieved like we pleased who we wanted to please. And I think that like our fans at this point, we've been doing it long enough that they trust us to put out something that they're going to enjoy. and they know they're going to get something that's different from the record before and the record before. So like, yeah, I would love it if everybody loved the record, but it's not going to break my heart if they don't. And at the same time, it's like, if there's people that there's backlash for any reason, whatever, get a life. I don't care. I'm like anything like that.
The album art. This is what sets the Acacia Strain apart from every other band. Is every album they have some badass distinguishing album art. What's the story of this one?
We decided it was time to change it up again. Like, we've had, we worked with Kalen for a few records, and then we'd worked with Justin, Angry Blue, for a while before that, and then Paul Armenko, I think, did Continent and Dead Walk. So it's like, we don't want to stick with one art style for too long. It's like, you need to, as the band evolves, everything else needs to as well. And Vincent really wanted like a woodcut kind of looking thing, and then we started to get into like finding somebody to do that, and we were failing. And it was either like somebody that could not get anything done in time, or somebody who didn't quite do what we were looking for. And our manager, Dog, he's like, hey, I know this guy who is a tattoo artist, and he does a lot of artwork that kind of fits that style. And I'm, of course, completely spacing on his name at the moment, but he sent it our way, and we were like, yeah, let's give this guy a shot. And he nailed it. Like, I'm in love with this artwork. And on the last tour, we had like the artwork on the cabs with a full backdrop and these banners on top of the guitar cabs, and it looks very cool.